Shri Sharda Devi and her Divine Play, Chapter-4, page 57. With good medical treatment and a special diet, Sharda recovered within 3 or 4 days. The master himself supervised her medical care and diet and then arranged for her to stay with his mother in the Nahvat during the day. At night, she slept in his room. Sharda was now entirely reassured. She immediately decided that her duty was to serve the master and his mother. Sharda's father was pleased by his daughter's happiness and he returned home without her after a few days. Later, Sharda told the devotees, "The master thought so much about my welfare. He always looked after my comfort and saw to my needs. What an intense love he had for me. People had circulated a rumor that he was mad and my parents were anxious about me. Afterwards, they were relieved and happy observing the master's normal behavior and his loving relationship with me." Ordinary people may wonder why Ramakrishna did not bring his wife to Dakshineshwar earlier. Shardananda explained the situation. Undoubtedly, an ordinary person would have done that, but the master was not such a person, so he did not behave in that manner. Those who are accustomed to performing every action while depending solely on God at every moment of their lives do not make any plans. For the good of themselves and others, they depend on the assistance of God's cosmic intelligence and wait for a signal rather than resorting to their own limited, puny intellects as we do. In addition, we can say that the master knew through his yogic vision that this was the will of God. Providence has its appointed hour for everything. After finishing his sadhanas, Ramakrishna waited to share his hard-earned spiritual treasures with his wife. Sharada also waited for the right time when she achieved her maturity to act the next part of her divine drama with her husband. Providence set the stage for this act in the temple garden of Dakshineshwar. Chapter 5, page 59. Awakening of Divinity. Ramakrishna was a world teacher and Sharada was his first disciple. He knew the mission that Sharada would carry out when he was gone, so he wanted to transmit to her the spiritual treasures that he had accumulated over his many years of sadhana. When Ramakrishna had visited Kamarpakur in 1867, he had begun to train Sharada in spiritual disciplines, but he could not finish the task. At that time, she was only 14 years old, and moreover, he was there for only a short time. It was not his nature to leave anything unfinished. Whenever he started a spiritual practice, he devoted himself to it completely, followed his teacher's instructions implicitly, and did not rest until he attained success. In 1872, Sharda was a mature woman of 18 years, so Ramakrishna resumed her training. He also wanted to test himself. He remembered his Guru Totapuri's statement, "He alone is firmly established in the knowledge of Brahman who can keep intact his renunciation, detachment, discrimination and self-awareness even while living with his wife. He alone has attained supreme illumination who can always look upon men and women alike as the Atman and deal with them accordingly." Ramakrishna now began to teach Sharada not only the lofty goal of human life but also how to perform mundane household duties. In addition, he taught her about meditation, prayer, samadhi and the knowledge of Brahman. But his method of teaching was not limited to verbal instruction. He also closely watched her to see whether she was carrying out his instructions. While training his disciples, he normally kept them near him and through affection made them his very own. One day he told Sharada, As Uncle Moon is the dear uncle of all children, so God is dear to all beings. Everyone has a right to call on God. Out of His grace, He reveals Himself to all who call upon Him. You too will see Him if you but call on Him. Recalling her early days in Dakshineshwar, Sharda once said, "On moonlit nights, I would look at the reflection of the moon in the placid water of the Ganges and piteously pray to God with tearful eyes. O Lord, there are stains even on the moon, but let my mind be absolutely stainless." The relationship of a young married couple is usually centered more on the physical plane. But throughout their lives, Ramakrishna and Sharada demonstrated an ideal spiritual relationship. Each tested the other. One night, when Sharada went to Ramakrishna's room to sleep, he said to her, "Tell me if you have come here to drag me down the road leading to the worldly life." "Certainly not," Sharda replied without a moment's hesitation. "Why should I drag you into the world? I am here to help you to realize your spiritual ideal." Sharada challenged Ramakrishna as well. One day she asked him, as she was massaging his feet, "How do you regard me?" He replied by pointing to himself and saying, "The mother who is worshipped in the temple and the mother who gave birth to this," pointing to his body, "and is now living in the Nahabat. The same mother is now stroking my feet. Really and truly, I always regard you as the embodiment of the blissful mother of the universe." Jai Ma.